Hello, RJ Bailey here, from out off of Oldex. I'm terribly sorry about the complete lack of content there's been recently. As some of you may know, my day job is as a audiobook narrator and voice actor. And I had a very, very, very busy month in August. I called it the month of madness. I worked pretty much every single day, very long hours. Then I was going to give myself a week off. In that week, I got 3 big important jobs that were major milestones for me, including going down to London to record video game characters for the video game War Tales. So that wasn't a week off. So after all of that, I've now finally gotten back to recording Oldex. A major reason I have returned, I was due to return anyway. I wasn't going to just go away and leave it there. But a major reason I've come back is getting a kick up the arse from Boxnaut. Boxnaut's one of my favourite YouTube channels, and I've been following him since almost the very start. And I had the very good fortune of being a guest. I kind of invited myself on, in a way. It wasn't like he noticed any particular talent or skill of mine and said, "You, come on to my YouTube channel." But he agreed to let me interview him as he was looking for show ideas, and I've interviewed a few people over the years, music artists mainly. So going on his podcast, the Boxnaut channel's podcast, I had a tremendous time. I loved it. It was exceeded my expectations. We had a really good chat. We have a lot in common. And I'm very, very grateful to Boxnaut. So Boxnaut, if you're listening to this, thank you very, very much. Being on that podcast gave me a right royal kick up the arse and thought, right, I really need to get some Oldex out now. So not only thanks to Boxnaut for a lovely experience and one I hope will repeat again, but also thanks for giving me a good dose of motivation to put my ass in the chair, sit in front of the mic, and record my own small contribution to the Warhammer 40,000 community. I very much recommend you go and check out Boxnaut. Not just the video I'm on, but all of his content is very, very, very good. It's crafting, it's talking and thoughts about the hobby, it's 3D printing, it's discussions of his own lore. It's brilliant. And he's a very easy, charming person to digitally spend time with. You know, if you put him on while you're painting or building models or what have you, or list building or updating your Crusade data sheets, it's very, very pleasant stuff to have on in the background or to watch dedicatedly. Or give a dedicated watch, I suppose I should say. Or watch, let it absorb all your attention is what I'm trying to say, but mangling my words. It's a good job that Oldex is written by actual proper writers, and I just speak it out loud. Without further ado, thank you very much again to Boxnaut. Go and check out their YouTube channel. Check out all of their socials. And this is, after the hiatus, the return of Oldex. Oldex. Phoenix Lords and Sigils. Codex Eldar 3rd edition. Written by Gav Thorpe. With additional text by Andy Chambers, Jervis Johnson, and Tuomas Pirinen. Pages 39 to 42. Narrated by R.J. Bailey. Maugan Ra, the Harvester of Souls. Aspect, Dark Reapers. War gear, the Maugatar, Shuriken cannon with built-in executioner. Warrior powers, crack shot, fast shot, and crushing blow. Like the craft world of Ulthwé, Altansar craft world stayed close to the Eye of Terror after the fall. Then, many millennia ago, a brief expansion of the Eye of Terror caught Altansar in its grip. Despite battling fiercely against the pull of the massive warp storm, the Altansar Eldar were doomed. slowly dragged into the warp over 5 centuries. It is claimed that the only survivor was the Phoenix Lord Maugan Ra, first of the Dark Reapers. Carrying the Maugatar, literally harvester, and wearing the morbidly decorated armor of his now destroyed temple, the Harvester of Souls reaps a high toll of blood from those who oppose the Eldar. Jain Zar, the Storm of Silence. Aspect, Howling Banshees. War gear, Banshee Mask, Executioner, the Silent Death, as Web of Skulls with Strength 5. Warrior powers, Acrobatic, War Shout, and Bounding Leap. The most swift and ferocious of the Asayan was Jain Zar, translation, the Storm of Silence, first chosen of Asamen. Like her mentor, Jain Zar traveled widely across the webway, teaching her skills to many. And so it is that the Howling Banshees can be found on all but the remotest craft world. For centuries at a time, she may be beyond the knowledge of mortals, but she always returns, and her shrines keep constant vigil for her. Her chosen weapons are the Janus Mor, literally Silent Death, and the deadly Zai Morin, Blade of Destruction, which she wields with devastating speed and skill. Karandras, the Shadow Hunter. Aspect, Striking Scorpions. War gear, Biting Blade, Scorpion's Claw, Scorpion's Bite, as Mandiblaster, but makes attacks at Strength 5. Warrior powers, Crushing Blow, Stealth, and Surprise Assault. Legends of Karandras the Shadow Hunter tell of one of the most mysterious of all the Phoenix Lords. No one knows where he originally came from, but it is known that he was not the first exarch of the Striking Scorpions. It is said that before him came one called Ara, the father of scorpions, and that Ara turned to the darkness and waged war upon his own kin. Eventually, he fled into the webway to become the fallen phoenix, and whether he lives still is unknown, but many have their suspicions that he is still alive. Baharoth, the Cry of the Wind. Aspect, Swooping Hawks. War gear, Swooping Hawk Wings, Swooping Hawk Grenade Pack, Plasma Grenades, Hawk's Talon, Power Weapon. Warrior powers, Bounding Leap, Sustained Assault, Withdraw. As Asurmen is the first exarch, so his finest pupil is believed to have been Baharoth, translation, the Cry of the Wind. He was the winged phoenix who taught the skills of what would become the Swooping Hawk aspect. Like all the Phoenix Lords, Baharoth has been reborn many times, and it is claimed that he will meet his end fighting alongside his fellow warriors at the Rana Dandra, the final battle against chaos. Fugan, the Burning Lance. Aspect, Fire Dragons. War gear, Fire Pike, Melter Bombs, Fire Axe, Power Weapon with +1 Strength. Warrior powers, Burning Fist, Tank Hunter, Fast Shot. Fugan, translation, the Burning Lance, is the founder of the Fire Dragon Shrine, teaching many exarchs the art of death through flame and fire. Fugan refused to flee when the Shrine of Asur was destroyed by the fallen phoenix, and he was thought lost for many centuries, until he reappeared to fight alongside the Eldar at the Haran Shimash, translation, World of Blood and Tears. It is said that Fugan will call together the Phoenix Lords for the Rana Dandra, and that he will be the last to die in that final conflict. Asurmen, the Hand of Asuryan. Aspect, Dire Avengers. War gear, Twin-linked Shuriken Catapults, Sword of Asur, Dire Sword, Reroll misses in close combat. Warrior powers. Defend. Distract. Battle fate. Asurmen's save is invulnerable. The Eldar believe that the first Exarch was Asurmen, founder of the Shrine of Asur, which was to grow into the most widespread of the aspects, the Dire Avengers. It is claimed that he was first killed whilst fighting the minions of the great enemy, and that his many reincarnations have continued this fight. Asurmen's ritual armor is said to incorporate 2 mighty vambraces containing shuriken catapults, and it is believed that his dire sword was the first ever created and contains the spirit of his brother Tethesis, who was slain by a demon. After the great cataclysm known as the Fall, the Eldar craft worlds were scattered across the galaxy. The Eldar path was begun as a means of controlling the raging emotions and desire for perfection that is the law all Eldar must resist. The path of the warrior was founded on many craft worlds and grew into the aspects that survive to this day. These original aspect temples were created by mighty Eldar fighters, the original exarchs of the bloody-handed god. The Eldar believe that these ancient figures survive to this day, continuing their fight for the Eldar cause whenever and wherever they appear. Many Eldar also believe that these Phoenix Lords are Asuria, as they are known to the Eldar, are no longer truly alive, that their armor is animated by the spirits of exarchs who have been absorbed into the consciousness of the Phoenix Lord. If this is true, then the Phoenix Lords would indeed be mighty warriors, with many thousands of years of experience. Extracts from Inquisitor Sevak's Ancient Wanderers, the Phoenix Lords of the Eldar examined. War is my master. Death is my mistress. Maugan Ra. The following refers to runes depicted on page 42 of Codex Eldar 3rd edition. If you have a copy of that, then it is best used in conjunction with this. However, it may prove interesting and inspirational when crafting your own Eldar lore.
Sirs, the artifact above, illustrated by my uncle Langstrymung, was taken from an ancient Eldar site on the 3rd moon of Parvax by my great-great-grandfather Elusius Mung. Since then, our family has endeavored to understand its full import. We have done much research into the mysterious Eldar language and believe it to be some form of physical representation of the beliefs of the disparate Eldar races. Your servant, Obelius Mung, Soulstone, relates to secretive, denial, hiding, or preservation key runes. The Eldar of the Stars, rune for craft worlds and their inhabitants, connotations of imprisonment, eternity, rigidity, and self-denial, stylized in present inactive tense. Salvation, literally one who has passed from the shadows into the light. Eldar of History. This rune represents the Exodites, similarities to pre-fall runes for regression and escape, stylized in the ancient past inactive tense. Phrase above main rune means isolated, lost, divorced, and disenchanted. Freedom. Other meanings include victory or transcendence, similar to runes for hope and future. Solitaire. Soulless or living dead. However, also a rune of hope and rescue. The soulless ones. Formed from runes connected with hunger, so could mean ones with no hunger, devoured ones, or even the ever-hungry ones. World spirit. Abandoned or forgotten. Also connections with runes for eternally lost or beyond retrieval. The god of laughter. Those who travel, or the fearless, stylized in future active tense, suggests things to come rather than things which have come to pass. Also based upon an inverse rune, which means the great enemy. Outcasts, those who wander. Ancient meaning is shadow or the lost. The dark kin. Anarchy and violence, corruption and torture, pain and misery. Forms of this rune mean soul thieves, thirsting ones, the predators, or forever damned. Soul drinker. Also scavengers, looters, parasites, vermin, dying, diabolic, demoniac, and decaying. One of the most hideous rune concepts in Eldar language.
You have been listening to Phoenix Lords and Sigils, pages 39 to 42. Codex Eldar, 3rd edition, written by Gav Thorpe, with additional text by Andy Chambers, Jervis Johnson, and Tuomas Pirinen. Narrated by R.J. Bailey. Thank you to Gav Thorpe, Andy Chambers, Jervis Johnson, and Tuomas Pirinen for writing the fiction I grew up with. Additional thanks to Tuomas for helping me pronounce his name correctly, or as near to it as we were able to get. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a review where you found it, or like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, depending how you're listening. This production, like all of Oldex, is entirely unofficial and uncommercial, from an out-of-print publication, is a derivative work with all copyrights owned by Games Workshop, and is a celebration of the hobby and lore I grew up with. If you have any suggestions for other old Codex fiction for me to narrate on this podcast, you can comment, contact me on Twitter @RJBailey, or email robertjbailey@gmail.com. Links are in the show description.